I know now that you're the one that I've been searching for. Special one. The chosen one. Miss Ashcroft. You're not like other people, you know. You're quite unique.
It's 6 now. 6 survivors of Raccoon City, all dead from the same thing.
Yeah, that's not good. Leon, we're running out of time.
There's no escaping your destiny.
It's Jaitiy. So to give y'all my Resident Evil backstory, because I don't even have Resident Evil on my channel at all, people are going to be like, is this guy a fake fan? My first Resident Evil was Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube. Yes, not even the PS2 version, the GameCube version. But ever since playing that game, which Resident Evil 4 is my favorite Resident Evil in the series, by the way. But after RE4, I have been hooked into the Resident Evil series ever since. From going to the good periods of Resident Evil to going to, what the hell is this Resident Evil game I played? Listen, I know Resident Evil 6 catch some flack, but if y'all did not play Operation Raccoon City, y'all were blessed. This game was buns. Also, if you want to know what other Resident Evil games I've played, I'm going to put them on the screen right here. But now that I got the Resident Evil backstory out of the way, now we're going to talk about the game we were talking about today. Resident Evil Requiem. I was really interested with the devs at Capcom, like how are they really going to approach this game? And because I didn't really want to watch a lot of trailers, because the thing is trailers kind of be showing a little too much with these games, I didn't watch anything because I didn't want to get spoiled. And with all that being said, let's talk about the brand new character in Resident Evil Requiem that I love so much. So the brand new Resident Evil protagonist for this game is Grace Ashcroft, the daughter of Alyssa Ashcroft. Which I was like, this name sounds so familiar, and the reason it sounds so familiar is because this is the same woman who had that report when you played as Ethan in Resident Evil Biohazard and that one note you found in the game. At the same time, I was just like, who the hell is Alyssa Ashcroft? All these Resident Evil games I played, I don't know who this is. But she actually was a playable character in a game called Resident Evil Outbreak. I was like, oh, that makes sense. I never played this game. So I actually looked up Alyssa Ashcroft's backstory on YouTube just to get a quick summary of her, what happened in Resident Evil Outbreak. So Alyssa was an investigative reporter for the Raccoon Press. But I'm not gonna lie, for the rest of it, I'm gonna have to give you the TLDR version because Resident Evil Outbreak was all over the place. So Alyssa and the rest of the survivors she was with were infected. They were dealing with the Raccoon City outbreak around this time, and depending on the scenario, and yes, I say scenario because Alyssa has different endings in this game, there's a scenario to where she faces a T-virus in a Speedo, dealing with somebody named Albert Lester, not Wesker, Lester. I know Wesker's looking in disgust right now. Losing her partner Kurt and having her memory suppressed by Greg Mueller, actually seeing Marvin from Resident Evil 2. No matter what she deals with, Alyssa always becomes a survivor of Raccoon City and tells her story about everything that she experienced. So that's everything that essentially happened with Alyssa, so I can't wait to see what we learn about her in Resident Evil Requiem. Well, damn. So anyways, let's talk about Grace. So Grace Ashcroft is a tech analyst working for the FBI, and she is easily my favorite Resident Evil newcomer for a protagonist, bro. Grace is introverted as hell, she's just like me for real, and the definition of a homebody who stays on Reddit and Discord all day. Grace, what you doing in that Discord server? And you can tell this is Grace's first time doing any type of field work. Anytime someone asks Grace a question, she doesn't really respond right away, and she gets very nervous about details. Even with this cutscene with her mom right here, you could just see her whole arm and body shaking. I was like, oh my god, protect Grace, please! And then when anything goes on, she panics. She doesn't know what to do. Got her stuttering almost throughout the whole entire game.
What do I do? Who are you?
You okay?
Yeah, thanks. I'm Grace, Ashcroft, FBI.
I love Grace's voice actor for this game, by the way. She did her damn thing! And the situation this wholesome woman be going through is absolutely criminal. Like, why is she dealing with something like this? Excuse me? Capcom, I only have one thing to say, bruh. How, Sway? You mean to tell me that this guy was just randomly sitting here casually waiting for Grace to actually go out of the exit just to be able to use a tractor out? You know what, Capcom? You got it, bro. But honestly, it is so amazing to see where Grace goes from the very beginning in the game to being very clumsy, very scared of like with everything that's been going on, to like her at the very end of the game being very confident. Like if you see the picture in this concept art, she was really willing to die over this shit. And the things that Grace did for Emily, someone that she saw from the care center who she just met, by the way, she was dealing with being chased by the girl throughout the whole entire game, while dealing with Infected and Victor Gideon steadily trying to find her. Bro, Grace is ridiculous. She definitely needs to adopt the Mom of the Year award because this is crazy. Now, y'all know who we gonna talk about next. Play the music. Let me just get this out of the way. Leon Kennedy is my favorite character in the whole entire Resident Evil series. Leon, he got the $100,000 watch, the $100,000 drip, and the $100,000 porcelain.
Get off that nigga dick, bro. What is you doing?
But man, Leon has honestly got way more popular ever since Resident Evil Requiem has come out. Like, he's been popular throughout the whole entire Resident Evil series, but this game, bro, the memes have been hilarious. So there's this thing on Twitter to where people have been doing this pun intended for Leon, to where if he was in another universe, what would he say to a character? Let me do my terrible Leon Kennedy impression real quick. Heartless. Sorry, but I don't break hearts.
Man, you corny!
Also, there's another one that I found on Twitter where someone was using free cam. You know when you're about to fight Mr. X in this game and then Leon jumps over the car? Look at this. Damn, I'm way too old for this shit. Meanwhile, you got Leon doing stuff like this.
Oh my god, he on X Games mode.
I said, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
Leon, you are my guy, bro, but how is your legs not shattered from jumping from 50 feet? What is your legs made of? Vibranium? Leon, just go ahead and join the Avengers at this point. But besides the fact throughout the game, you know, this man Leon is just casually aura farming throughout the whole entire game, I really love how Leon is as a character in this game. You can honestly tell that everything that Leon has went through up to this point has really taken a toll on him. And then having the T-virus on top of it to where his life can end, it's just like, oof. And to this day, he still feels bad about the fact that he couldn't save everyone from Raccoon City. But it's like one of those situations, like, it's so sad because honestly, there was really nothing they could do. I mean, it was a missile strike. Y'all had to get out of there. Even throughout the game, Leon was willing to do anything for Grace, no matter what danger he was in or what damage it would cause him. And Leon, from my point of view, he really does see that young Leon aspect in Grace, and how like throughout the later half of the game that Grace was willing to do anything to help. And the way they bond with each other near the end of the game, it's so wholesome, man. But now that we have the two characters we are playing as in Resident Evil 9, now it's time to talk about the moment that I've been waiting to talk about.
What does Victor want with you?
What do you mean?
He grabbed you for a reason.
Now we're going to talk about an aspect of RE9 that I was absolutely worried about because I didn't know what it was going to be like, and that is the gameplay. So to give you a TLDR of what happened to Requiem, Grace's sections.
What did I do to deserve this life?
And here's Leon's sections. Yeah, that basically tells you everything you need to know. I absolutely love playing as Grace AshCroft in this game. It feels great to go through like very real believable scenarios to where like if we actually saw like what was going on in Requiem, what Grace was going through, and how we would actually react. And I love the details that Grace has depending if you choose to play the game in first person or choosing the game in third person. For example, when you were getting chased by the cop in Renwood Hotel, or if you was getting chased by Marie, you know, the girl that chases you throughout the whole entire game. Depending on the perspective you choose, you actually see for the fact that in first person, you know, like you're just running, nothing really crazy is going on. But in third person, you actually see the animation of when Grace is running and she got that Scooby-Doo ass animation. And the fact that she actually trips over, it's just like, I love little details like that. Or even when Grace is carrying her gun. First person, you just see her hand shaking, but in third person, you see her whole body in her handshake. It's just like, bro, these devs cooked.
Jesus.
Sensational.
And Grace's sections are so old school RE coded, I love it so much. So I was playing on standard classic, so I had to use an ink ribbon to save my game. There are so many items that you had to grab that I essentially had to keep going back and forth just because I grabbed so many things that I had to find hip pouches to have more room in my inventory. But let me say something real quick. The devs did Grace so dirty. So you know how when Grace meets Leon for the first time and Leon gives her the Requiem, you were thinking, okay, you know, that's cool. We got the Requiem. How many bullets we got? We got 1 bullet? Alright, that's calm. So maybe when I find a gun, you know, I'll be actually...
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on.
There's no way that the gun has no ammo in it! Like, what am I supposed to do with this? I'm already fighting for my life! Going through this with Grace, I wanted to go back to Leon with the quickness. But you know what had me dying laughing, y'all? You know how in most Resident Evil games, characters have their own unique animations and such? Let me show y'all some examples real quick. You know, she had to hit that white girl push like, And Resident Evil being Resident Evil, Grace has this thing called the blood collector, right? So essentially when you get rid of an enemy and kill one, you actually collect their blood sample. And with the blood and finding the blood specimens for the blood collector, and by figuring out the puzzles for it, so you're able to craft healing items, craft ammo, or use injectors to be able to like increase your health, increase gun damage, gun stability, etc. But it's just like, Capcom, how does this even make sense? So you're telling me by collecting an enemy's blood, you know what, Capcom, I'm not even going to question it. But easily, my favorite sections with Grace is the basement and the care center. I think the care center is one of the best Resident Evil levels they have absolutely made, because you have to get Emily out of the cell when you have no ammo, have to collect all these items to go to the east wing and the west wing, seeing Chef, the single lady, Chuck. Oh, by the way, seeing the blister hits with Grace, you going straight to heaven. I don't know what to tell you. But the cool thing about this game, the infected have their own personalities.
Next.
And the crazy thing about the blind zombie, you could actually one-shot Chuck!
Chuck one of these bottles at the very doorframe, where these two are going to be
meeting. And then this guy comes, beats the crap out of poor Chunk, and you are gonna be getting a trophy as well called the Internal Dispute.
This game is honestly mad creative, I'm not gonna lie. And the basement is way more dreadful compared to when you first see the girl in the care center. Because in the care center, you only had that one little dark room spot to where you had to get the screwdriver for the key item, run back to the room with the light, and you were completely fine most of the time because the girl can't really go in the light anywhere. The basement is not like that at all. So in the basement, you had to find these 3 joint plugs while the girl is chasing you in this dark ass area at the same time. Knowing which joint plugs to put where to turn on the light just in case the girl chases you. Also dealing with the infected in the area at the same time. There's even a point to where you see a whole ass zombie line and then have to fight the zombies on a meat grinder. And when we find all the joint plugs, we have to run away from the infected and the girl again. The girl chases us on the elevator, and when the girl caught up to Emily and Grace, it almost looked like Grace almost got her leg chopped off. Thank God she didn't. We go outside, the helicopter guy needs the key, we grab the key, this place is falling apart and we have to run away while the place is falling apart. We get back to the helicopter, the infected are now chasing us, and now they're on top of the helicopter, and then the helicopter crashes. Grace, you are way braver than me, because if you think I was going to do this for Emily, a person I just met, and dealing with all of this, oh nah. What that man MJ said, F them kids, bro. Like, I was so happy when we finally got rid of her on like the last encounter when we had to bring the lights back on in the area. Now, for the last area with the arc location with Grace, I'm not gonna lie, this area with Grace sucks. And it's really because all you really have to do with Grace at this point is keep using the blood collector to farm acid bottles to get rid of the liquors, and you're essentially good to go at that point, and then you're essentially done with Grace for the whole entire game. That's honestly something I don't like though, is like, I feel like Grace's time that you play with her after the first half, it's like, it's essentially all Leon at that point, and then when you do play with her, you play with her for like 10 minutes and then you're done again. Like, she doesn't even assist Leon in the final boss fight of the game. Like, I'm not saying she had to be with Leon shooting the enemy or anything. I'm just saying like when they both fell, Grace wakes up, she finds the Requiem, sees Leon in trouble and gives Leon the Requiem, and he gives Victor the final blow. Like, that would have been so much cooler. Because to not have Grace in the final boss encounter in any type of way, it was kind of just like, ugh, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't feeling it. Now it's time to talk about Leon Wick Kennedy, because let me tell y'all something. If y'all thought Leon Kennedy was on one on Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 6, I'm sorry, y'all have not seen nothing yet. So you know how in Resident Evil 4 Remake they introduced a parry mechanic for the first time? But instead of a knife now, Leon has a hatchet. And let me tell you, this hatchet is dangerous. Because unlike in Resident Evil 4 Remake, this man Leon can parry everything. Hey, I wasn't lying to y'all when I said he can parry everything now. Also, you know how in Resident Evil 4 Remake as well, to where like if your knife is low on health or it breaks, you know Leon, he can't use his knife unless you have another one? Well, in this game, you don't really have to worry about it, because even if your hatchet breaks or it's low on health, all you really have to do is sharpen the hatchet again, and then it's right back to full health again. And it does not even take that long as an animation to do either. I was just like, oh, they just made Leon stupid in this game. Also, depending on where you are at on the map in this situation, Leon gets very unique animations that I really like. And he also has the same scenario to where like if an enemy's about to hit you and you actually aim, and he gets a unique animations with his guns. It's like he can't be stopped. He's too tough. But nah, y'all. It's not even over yet after that, because this man Leon must have really hated that chainsaw enemy in Resident Evil 4, because he can pick up the chainsaw and use it for himself. And he even has a unique animation with the chainsaw. Also in this game, he can also throw objects at enemies. It's like, I'm about to pass out with all these tools you are giving me, bruh. And you know what else is crazy, y'all? Why is it when you go to Raccoon City that the devs are just like, you know what? Just go have fun and ball out. Now you're playing the live version of Mercenaries. And when you are first introduced to this in the BSAA camp in Raccoon City, by just killing enemies alone, you get points. And the more infected you kill, the more points you get. And you use these points for weapon upgrades, buying armor and armor upgrades, buying ammo, buying healables, etc. Like, honestly, playing with Leon in this game, you are essentially just ore farming and bullying all the enemies that you are facing. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, it's not even funny at times. I was like, bro, we are so broken. We are not even human. But that's really all I gotta really say for Leon's gameplay, because honestly speaking, there's not really much I gotta say for Leon's case compared to like Grace's section for it. So with that being said, for both of their gameplay scenarios, I do have some gameplay complaints though. So usually when I play Resident Evil, I like having the pistol on the top for my shortcut for my D-pad, but for some reason in this game, the game won't allow you to do so because it's mapped to your flashlight, and you can't move your flashlight to another shortcut. I don't know why you can't do that. And that's got me messed up in so many scenarios. One thing I will say for sure is that this game with Leon is easy as hell. Like, when you essentially give me the tools to where I'm not really scared of facing anything. Hell, for example, facing Mr. X. In RE2 Remake, Mr. X was a lot more scary due to the fact that Leon didn't have a parry, you had to actually learn how to maneuver when he was moving around, and he had a huge ass hitbox. Facing this man on hardcore was challenging. But on Resident Evil Requiem, like, he's just a boring boss in comparison because, you know, Leon, he just has the tools to be able to deal with him a lot more easier. The only bosses that I say that, like, I really enjoyed facing on this game was the spider boss, facing Hunk, and facing Victor Giddy at the end before he turned into a nemesis, because I just fell asleep when he turned into a nemesis because I was just like, bro, y'all could have gave him like a Wesker transformation or something. Wesker is still my favorite boss in Resident Evil. It's not even close, man. The orphanage section, my goodness. Let me change the music real quick. When I say I do not like this part of the game, I do not like it. I understand Resident Evil, there's always parts like this, like how there was an RE2 and RE4 remake where you had that Sherry and Ashley section. But the biggest difference with Sherry and Ashley in their games, your characters can actually run. And on top of that, if you know exactly where to go for both Sherry and Ashley's section, you can get done with it pretty fast. And the only time you really have to worry about Sherry's case is if you're playing Claire's route. The problem with the orphanage is, even though if you know exactly where you're going to go through the same speed throughout the whole entire time. Now, the first time you see everything that's going on, it's like, oh, this is kind of mad creepy, but that's like the first time you see it. But when you play it over again and again, you're just like, oh brother, this part is a drag, man. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if there was a mod on PC to skip it. Play with Leon in Raccoon City, I felt the first time, I was just like, bro, this part is taking way too long. I honestly felt like the first time it overstayed its welcome, but after playing it again, it feels a whole lot better now. I honestly feel like they could have made it a little bit shorter, because to me, even if you know where you are going, it still feels a bit long. Leon section going to Ark. Now, I'm not talking about the first time you're playing as Leon, because I think the first time Leon goes to Ark was completely fine. You know, facing the plant variant, you know, I could care less. I didn't really care about facing the plant. But when you were facing those military men, and you had to play like Call of Duty like because of the way they approach you, and then adding Hunk on top of that, like, that made it fun. Now, the second time you play as Leon when you go to Ark, oh. So Leon's T-virus condition is getting worse, so there are some moments that where he's gonna be moving slow. My only problem about this part, it's like a repeat of playing Grace's part, and it's just like, I don't feel like doing this, bro. Like, if it was up to me, I would have just skipped this whole entire part entirely. That's just me, though. Okay, now back to the regular music. And what I'm about to say is actually probably gonna piss some of y'all off, but I actually like playing more with Grace in this game than I did Leon. Yep, go ahead and boo me. I said it. End off the gameplay section before we go to the story section. So just like in the other Resident Evil games, Resident Evil Requiem has a point system. So by completing the campaign, you can see that you have challenges to complete in order for a way to earn points. And just like the other games, you use these points to be able to get costumes for your characters, get concept art, charms, weapons, infinite ammo, etc. And if you want the tech for how you can get infinite ammo the fastest, I did the no healing, speed demon, and not using the blood collector, and I had so much points to use to where I was able to use infinite ammo for the Insanity run. And I honestly gotta say, after completing Insanity on my third run, it did not disappoint. Like, at the very beginning to where you deal with the cop and he's about to shoot you with the shotgun, he shot the gun so fast that I actually died. I was actually shook. Or how when I was dealing with the girl on Insanity, she was moving faster than usual, and I was like, holy shit! But honestly speaking, I say it's really only hard for Grace. When I was doing Insanity with Leon, like, I was just breezing through. There was nothing really hard about it. Now, let us talk about Resident Evil Requiem story.
She is my hope. of it serves as a requiem for those who have passed.
Okay, so before we talk about the story for Resident Evil Requiem real quick, there's one thing I need to get out my chest. Nathan! You are definitely working for a higher power in the government or a secret organization or something, because you are not gonna try to tell me he's one of the good guys. You mean to tell me, for this case specifically, you decided to send Grace back to the Renwood Hotel, the same place her mother got sliced, and then you have the audacity to be talking about, well, Grace, it happened 8 years ago, maybe you should face your fears and you don't have to go. But shut your lame ass up. And then when the game ends, you have the audacity to ask Grace, after everything she's been through, where's my report? Is this nigga serious? I did not go to hell and back with my girl Grace fighting for her life just for you to hurry up and rush me about a report. I hope on the case you go out there and you get affected next. My bad, y'all. I just had to get that out of my chest, man. So you have 2 point of views for Resident Evil Requiem's story. On Grace's side, Nathan sent her on a case to discover the murders that keep happening around the area, so he sent her back to Renwood Hotel to figure out what's going on. And then you have Leon's side, and he's trying to figure out why Raccoon City survivors are dying. And also at the same time, Leon and Sherry, yes, Sherry's in the game by the way, glad to see my girls alive and well, they are both dealing with the T-virus. Also, Leon and Sherry are looking for Victor Gideon, who was a former T-virus researcher, and he's the same person that Grace meets at the Renwood Hotel because Victor actually led Grace there. And Victor is also the reason Grace had to deal with that infected cop before they actually met with each other. But Victor is so interested in Grace, saying that she is the chosen one. And this is a very big theme of the game, trying to figure out why people are so interested in Grace. And Alyssa at around the point saying that, Grace, that you are my hope, and it really got you questioning, what is so special about Grace? But Victor Gideon has to be one of my favorite new Resident Evil villains, because man, this guy was so interesting and mysterious in the first half of the game. I really want to learn a lot more about him. Not for the second half of the game though, I didn't really like him, but I'll talk about that later. And when Grace and Leon met for the first time, you know, after Grace was getting chased by the girl, and he saved her life, unlike the doctor though. I still don't know why Leon was sitting here when this happened, by the way. Grace tells Leon that she's FBI, and Leon's trying to figure out why the FBI is even here in the first place. But before they can even continue talking, Victor shows up and essentially cuts them off to where Leon has to give her the Requiem. And just like how Grace got slumped by Victor, Leon got the same treatment. But while in the care center, Grace sees Emily for the first time in a cell. And we actually learn later throughout the game that Umbrella was essentially making clothes, which I'm not surprised. This Umbrella, they're always doing some crazy experiments. And the girl who chases you throughout the whole entire game was actually Emily's sister Marie. You can actually see that little hole in Marie's cell, and that's essentially her turning into like the monster that she turns into, but like smaller before, you know, she became what she became. So throughout this point, Grace is trying to protect Emily throughout the whole entire game, while also dealing with everything that she was dealing with. And Leon, after Victor Gideon essentially got embarrassed by him by trying to interrogate him, homie ate that smooth ass kick, Leon is trying to figure out why Victor Gideon is so interested in Grace so much. So throughout the rest of the game, Leon is there to protect Grace no matter what she goes through. So after Grace got rid of the girl, Emily actually turns into a monster the same way her sister Marie did, and Leon said, I'm sorry Grace, but I gotta do what I gotta do. And Grace, she feels absolutely awful about this situation. And you know, Leon, he tried to give her words of encouragement, but Grace, she essentially just left. And along the way, she meets Timu Wesker. Why did they... Let's just continue. And we learn that Victor and Zeno are actually working together. And the reason that they were so fascinated with Grace to begin with is that they believed that Grace was the key to Elpis. It was a virus weapon made by Spencer, and in Zeno's mind, he was essentially going to be able to take over the world with it. Then we learned something absolutely crazy. The missile for Raccoon City wasn't actually there to get rid of the zombies. The Connections was actually involved to essentially to tell the government to send the strike, and everything that they did was for Elpis. So remember how I told you that Umbrella was doing clones? Emily and Marie were clones of Grace because Grace is not an actual normal person.
What did he say?
Bro, when I heard all this information at one time, I was like, excuse me? And Grace, she couldn't even process everything that just happened either because she really felt everything was her fault to the point that she passed out. Leon, he went after Grace considering Zeno and Victor had her, and he had to go back to the very place that started it all, Raccoon City. Going back to Raccoon City was very nostalgic. Also, the amount of nostalgia and fan service this game has is absolutely crazy. Leon's Jeep from Resident Evil 2 is still at that same gas station that he left it at. On the back of Leon's BMW on his car tag, you can see the numbers 2, 4, 6, 9, and that's all the games that Leon in Resident Evil was a part of. Also, you see in the RPD that the storage box and the typewriter are still there that was there from Resident Evil 2. You find out pictures of the STARS members, Wesker, Chris, Jill, Barry, Rebecca, etc. Tofu? What is Tofu doing here? You see Chris's Made in Heaven jacket, and Claire has that same design on one of her outfits. The welcome sign from Resident Evil 2 is still there as well. You also could find in the RPD this picture of Rebecca, which someone was being freaky, someone was hiding this. Mr. X wants his run back, so you have a rematch with Mr. X again. And for people asking what would it be like if Hunk and Leon fight each other, well, you are going to be very happy because it actually happens in this game. And bro, this moment was so cool. Like, I was geeking when this moment was happening. And there's so many other Easter eggs that I probably missed while playing the game, to the point to where when I replayed the game again, I want to go back to see what I actually missed. And seeing Leon have the flashbacks of Marvin and Kendo, and seeing the environments of where you were in RE2, it was just a very nice touch. But with something I really don't like about the Raccoon City section, I find it very weird that Ada and Claire was not mentioned a single time. Ada and Claire are both as important as Leon and Sherry because they were all in Resident Evil 2 at the same time. Like, the reason that Sherry is even alive right now is because of Claire in the first place. And you're telling me like we didn't have a conversation, a note, nothing? We get this gun charm instead. Like, I ain't trying to see that, man. Get this out of my face. So we're just gonna highlight that both of these characters were not in Raccoon City with y'all. Okay, whatever, Capcom, y'all got it. We then see Zeno and Grace in the center of ARC, and we actually learned that Zeno is actually a part of the Connections, the same group that Evelyn and Mia is in. But in order to get Elpis, they have to know the password, which he thinks that Grace knows, but she actually doesn't. Leon creates a diversion so him and Grace can escape from Zeno. And at this point, this man Leon, he is in critical condition. And Grace is trying to figure out why Leon's even going through the trouble of all of this, but my goat, my guy had to deliver that speech.
Raccoon City was where it all began for me. Where it all happened, I couldn't make a difference. So I am here now.
Yeah, Leon, talk to her. And when Grace went on ahead to help Leon, she found this room with all of these monitors. And that picture frame that you see at the very beginning of the game, to where Alyssa Ashcroft told Grace that this was important, there is actually a disc on it. And on this disc, actually see Alyssa Ashcroft interviewing Spencer. And we see a file name called Grace. And in this file, we see that actually Spencer is holding Grace. And turns out that Grace is actually a normal person and she didn't get experimented at all. And we also see that Spencer is actually showing empathy for everything that has happened so far. And Grace learns from watching this video that Elpis is not what everyone actually thinks it is. And at this point, Leon, he is in absolutely critical condition. The man is essentially dying. So Grace had to hurry up to rush to Leon and told Leon that she had a plan. And she tells Zeno she knows the password. This is where the game has two different endings depending on the choice that you make. So I actually wanted to see what the bad ending was, and oh my goodness, it is so bad. And yeah, the man Leon essentially dies. It got to the point to where when I was done with the credits and everything, the game asked me like, do you want to go back, and like, hey, not the right choice. But in the Kending ending, Grace actually tried to tell Zeno, but the man Zeno, he wanted to use Elpis so bad, but Elpis is actually antiviral. And this man Victor, he was actually amazed by what Spencer was doing, but Zeno, he was not having none of it. But this man Victor actually told Zeno that like, you are nothing but an imitation. Oh! I know he was furious. And then this man Victor Gideon essentially one-shots him. I was so upset at the fact that Capcom really ruined the moment to where we could have had a double boss fight of Zeno and Victor Gideon at the final part of the game. How are you gonna have this man Zeno show up, be in the game for like 20 to 30 minutes, show these cool Wesker-like abilities, just for him to die at the end? Like, okay. So Grace uses the antiviral on Leon, Leon faces Victor, and essentially Leon defeats Victor. And with Victor defeated, the whole ARC facility was essentially about to go into Rumble, and it was looking like GG's for Leon and Grace. That was until Chris's team, the Wolves, came and actually saved them. So both of them were actually able to escape the ARC facility. We're like, wait a minute, is that man Leon have a ring? He's wiped up with Ada? And to end it all off, we actually see that Grace is actually talking to Leon. And even when Nathan actually asked Grace about the report, you see that Grace is not shaking up or nothing. She's a lot more confident in herself now. And then we see the photos of Grace's mom and Emily's. Oh my god, oh man, that was so nice to see. And Emily is no longer blind no more, so it's a possibility that they use Elpis on her. But come on, Grace, y'all telling me y'all could have given her some new clothes as she still has on the same clothes? And the post-credit scenes, you see that all of the BSAA got cooked. And apparently, my guess is these people are working for the connections. And they said they are retrieving the objective before the wolves come in. It makes you wonder, what are they grabbing? Like, is it the Elpis vital that they forgot to grab or something? Like, we won't know because it faded to black. And once you get back to the main menu, you actually get Grace's report, and it goes very into detail for people who like RE lore, so I would highly suggest people read that. Honestly speaking, I really think the first half of the game was honestly to where it was at its best, but when it comes to Raccoon City, and even though I enjoy like nostalgia moments here and there, like there is just a lot of elements that were just kind of add to me. The biggest one is like Victor Gideon. I really feel like they should have just kept him like mysterious, quiet, and a mastermind throughout the whole entire game. Like that whole section to where he has that motorcycle scene with Leon and everything, like I don't really know what I was added. You could have honestly replaced it with Zeno there. It would have made no difference. Hell, even if Victor wasn't there at all, it would have made no difference in my opinion. And I really wish that like Zeno would have had a lot more chance to shine, because he honestly just shows up so little just to get offed off. Like it didn't really make no sense to me. Also, again, I really wish that like we learned more about Alyssa AshCroft. I mean, in the very beginning of the game, she kind of did get sliced, but hopefully that's explained more in a DLC. Also, considering the fact that Chris's men talked to Leon, is there a possibility that Leon and Chris are going to meet each other like how they did in RE6? Because if they do, that'll be cool. I'm not gonna lie. I want to see more of my Resident Evil characters meet each other again. Like, that's something I've been wanting for the longest time now. Even though Resident Evil Requiem isn't perfect, this is still a very fun Resident Evil game to play. I honestly can't wait till they add more game modes to the game so I can try them out, and I also can't wait for a brand new DLC. And I will be there day one. But before I go, I just want to say thank you guys so much for the patience for this video. This video was actually supposed to be out sometime either late March or April, but with me dealing with health problems, my mom recently having surgery, no longer having a job at the moment, there's a lot of things going on IRL that I didn't really just have time to be able to edit, but I'm very happy after everything I was able to put this video out. Like, I'm a very big fan of Resident Evil, like y'all have no idea, man, but that's all I got. Till next time, I'll catch y'all later to better days. Jenna.
We'll be right back.